22 years old, 360,000 kilometers, and you expect this car to be reliable every day for you to pull other cars? Of course. So look, if you're from America, I understand you guys love Japanese or Asian cars. You think they're the most reliable cars ever made. But if you're in Europe, buying parts from them is really expensive. And in that case, it's just better to buy something European. I even believe that these cars are on par with the Japanese, such as Toyota or Mitsubishi, because I've driven them for a while now, and I've been towing other cars. This car just performs flawlessly. It does, however, have a thing that you Americans do not get in your country. It's this beauty here, M57 diesel engine, 3-liter, which is in this case coupled to a manual gearbox, 5-speed. This is the best combination for towing you could ever buy here. This thing in the right hands is as good as unbreakable. It never needs oil, it never needs coolant. Only thing it needs here is the wiper fluid. Other than that, just give it some diesel fuel and it's ready to go. Speaking of build quality, they are actually made in America, in Spartanburg, if I'm correct. As soon as you open the door, as you grab for this handle, it's so solid, it's so good. Of course, these tend to break all the time because people do not pull on them correctly. This is the right way to pull on them. Now, this car has been like raped its whole life. This part was bitten off by a dog. This here, I mean, it's in excellent shape considering who I bought it from. I bought it from a guy, from a farmer, who didn't give two fucks about, taking care of this car. He just drove it till it falls apart, which it didn't, and then I bought it. So yeah, according to that, there's many aesthetical flaws, visual flaws, but technically it performs wonderfully. The expensive thing that broke on this car was the immobilizer, which rendered the car inoperable. It did not want to start, but it didn't happen suddenly, since we had a lot of time to fix it. You would just put your key in, and then nothing happened here as you started trying to start it. But it kind of gives you warnings that this is about to happen, and you have like plenty of time to fix it before it leaves you stranded. So I know this is a pretty broad question, but I am only speaking from experience with some Japanese cars and other European cars. American cars, I don't even know much about them, so I'm not going to comment on that. But as far as German cars go, my personal opinion is that in the 90s they were technically really good cars. The thing that killed them the most was the rust. In Europe, all cars are pretty rusty except for southern parts, or maybe on the west, Spain and Portugal and stuff, but usually rust would kill them. After that, in the 2000s, they came up with very good cars which were very well protected from rust, but also mechanically very solid. So you could basically drive them as long as you have the nerves to upkeep them. Every now and then some small thing will break, you would just have to replace it, and that's it. As a rule, nothing expensive ever breaks on these cars. Now, of course, this is not universally correct, and there will be cars that would occasionally have a bigger issue, but it mostly tends to be related to however the previous owner treated the car, and even the sturdiest cars can die in the wrong hands. But I mean, we only paid like 2,000 euros for this car. It's got functioning AC, heated seats, leather, a sunroof, and it's towing cars all the time. So right around 2010 or so, all European car makers started to build the biggest pieces of crap ever. Those cars were made for like a maximum of 150,000 kilometers. In that time, they would basically start to disintegrate. They were not economically viable to repair anymore. These had a very strict and very direct lifespan compared to the earlier cars, which were basically running as long as you would upkeep them.